if you are looking to perform addition of these numbers now, what we need to do in Excel is just say, like I said, we must start every equation with an equal to sign. So we just say equal to, then we pick the numbers that we want to add. So we pick this, then we add a plus sign, and we pick the other numbers too. This is one of the many ways you can do this in Excel. So once we click on enter, you see that the addition gets to us. However, this is not the only way. Another way we can choose to do this is to use the word sum, for instance. So when we input our equal to sign, we can choose to use the function sum. So you see, it brings it out, then you can click on it. It says it adds numbers. So since we are seeking to add numbers, what do? We click on it, then we select and highlight the numbers we want to add together. So once we make a selection of that and click on enter, we have our sum being given to us by Excel. So not to take much of our time, for the subtraction function, what we do is easy, like the case of addition too. You put the equal to, then you select the numbers you want to subtract. Let's say, for instance, the selling price is this 5, and cost price is 2 in that instance. You just input the subtraction symbol, then you click the other number. And what you have to do is just click enter. You get the answer to that. The same thing with multiplication sign. Remember, whenever you are putting an equation in Excel, you always have to start it with equal to. That is non-negotiable. That's the only way Excel can see that you are issuing a command to it to do something at a particular time, right? So taking our equal to, then we pick the number we want to work on, our multiplication sign, then the number we want to multiply with. Once we click enter, we have the answer to that. It works the same way for division, just the same way. Starting out again with our equal to sign, pick the numbers, the symbol divide. Now in Excel, this is the symbol divide, this slant, the symbol divide. So once we pick that, then we can pick the other number we want to divide by. So with enter, we get our answer. Now power is another one. Power is just, you're trying to say a number is raised to a power of another number. And you're trying to say a number is raised to power of another number. So you see we have the symbol in front of it. It's the correct symbol. I think you get that when you hold on Shift and 6. So what you need to do is just equal to sign, like we've gotten accustomed to. Pick the number. For instance, we are doing 5 raised to power 2. You've selected 5. Hold down your Shift and 6, which gives you your correct symbol. Then you can put in the number you want to use as a power. Once you do that, Excel understands that you want to do 5 to power of 2. So it automatically computes that for you when you click enter. So this is the first part of the class. If there are any questions concerning this, I would love to entertain just 1 or 2 for the time. Or if it's not clear to anyone. Hello, I believe you guys can hear me. Hello?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Do I accept that is clear to everyone?
Please, can you take the power again?
Okay, can I do the power again, right? Hello?
Yes.
Okay, the power again, right? Okay, let's do that again.
Yes.
Let's do that again. So let me erase it and do that again for the sake of that person. So when it comes to power, what you do is like we've been doing normally. You have the equals to sign coming first. Then you are selecting the number. Then you are holding down Shift and 6 to get the correct symbol, right? Then you are selecting the other number. So this is the same thing as, let me write this out in one of the empty cells. This is the same thing as we doing 5 raised to power 2. So 5 to the power of 2, which is 5 times 5. That's 25. So I hope it's clear now. The person that asked the question.
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Okay. Is there any other person that is not clear on anything here before we move to the next page? Okay. Okay. So now we are moving to, more advanced functions. Now, we talked about sum the other time, and I did sum with the symbol plus, but actually there is a function in Excel, to run sum of numbers. If you decide that you want to do, you want to work on sum, you want to add numbers together. So how do we do that? Let's look at that. For instance, we have some certain tables here. We have about 4 tables that are showing, apples. The first table shows different fruits in the market, and the amounts they are sold. So if somebody bought these four fruits now, bought apples, bought oranges, bought bananas, and bought lemons, you understand? And we want to calculate the total amount that the person is supposed to pay the trader that I bought the fruit from, or the fruit seller. How can we do that in Excel? Or how do we perform basic calculations like that? So what we do is quite simple. We just what we do is quite simple. We just use the function, like it says here, sum. So we are working with the function sum in Excel. What we need to do is just put in the equal to sign, like we are accustomed to, because it has to come before anything when you are writing any equation. Then we write the name of the function we want. What function do we want? We want the function sum, right? And what do we want to sum? We want to sum the numbers, right? The amount of each fruit. So once we hit that and we click on enter, we have the sum. So this is the total amount, because this function sums 50, sums 20, sums 60, and sums 40, and gives us a total of 170. So that's how to use the function sum in Excel. Let's take the other example on that, just to get us used to the function. We do the same, equal to, like you have to start all your equations. Then we write the function we are interested in, the sum function, right? So once we pick the sum function, then we pick everything we want to sum together. Click and hold, then drag over everything, just like I'm doing. Click, hold, and drag over everything. So once you drag over it, then you can click on enter. Once you click on enter, it gives you the sum of the amount, or the sum of the rows, whatever values you have in the rows. So far, they are numbers that can be summed. Note that this sum function only works for numbers that can be summed, 1, 2, till infinity. So if we had to do this too, the prices of different meats and beefs, we use the same sum function. Sum, select the amount, and that's it. Now, let us look at the count function. The count function is another beautiful function in Excel. The purpose of the count function is actually to count number values in a certain row. For instance, let me go outside of this place to write, just a set of numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And let's say want to do, a count of this. How many numbers are here, right? How many numbers are here, right? It's simple. What we need to do is just like every other time, input the equal to symbol. Then the function count, that is what you call now. You call the function count in Excel. So once you call the function count, it brings out the function for you. So once you click on the function, then you can then select all the values you want to count. Let me repeat again. This is only applicable for counting number values. So you see, so the count is 6. Like Excel notices 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 numbers. Now, like I said, the count function works with only numbers. The count function works with only numbers. When you have perhaps a text or a string in that same column where you have your numbers, you don't use the count function. But we'll get to that in a minute. So let's work on our table. So since we have different items here, we have bread, donuts, cookies, cakes, and pies with their different. Hello?
Good evening.
Good
Hello.
evening. Okay, I can hear you.
Hello.
Hello, I can hear you.
Good evening.
Good
Sorry,
evening. Okay.
I'm late.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
No problem. There will
Well
be a
done.
recording
I just joined the class.
for as many people that are just joining the class. There will be a recording of the class so that you can, watch and go through later and get informed on everything we did before your arrival.
Oh,
Is that okay?
all right. Thank you. Yeah.
Okay, you're welcome. You're welcome. So what we do is, like we always do, use our equal to sign, then select our function, which is count, right? So once we pick on our function count, we can select the number of numerical values in the table. And once we click enter, it tells us that we have 5 numbers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's it about the function count. Now, remember the other times I said count only works for a column of numbers or a row of numbers. You are trying to know how many numbers you have in that space. Sometimes it is not only numbers. You have, for instance, you have a case like you have numbers like, and for instance, you have alphabets in between them, right? For instance, For instance, you have alphabets in between them, a case like this. So, and meanwhile, you want to count all the values there. You want to count the alphabet inclusive, and you want to count the numbers inclusive to know the counts that you have there. In this case, you cannot use the count because the count only works for numbers. So let me try use the count for this column and let's see what we get. So if I try to use the count, I say count. Like we start every equation, I use the equal to sign. Then I say count. And I select a minute. I say count. Then I select the values. And I press enter. Now this is telling me that we have 7 values here. Is that true? Let's make a hand count and see if that's true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's not true. It means that something different than what we want happened. So let's try to look at what happened, right? Let's count the number of numbers that we have here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it means that this function only counted the number of numbers that we had here and left out the alphabet. We have this as a number. We have this as a number. We have this as numbers. We have this as an alphabet. We have this as a number here. We have this as a number. So these numbers and the only things that the counts worked on, everything that was not a number, it didn't work on it. So it didn't count them. So if we are in a case where we really need to count all these values, it shows that counts cannot work. That is where another function comes in. We look at the functions count A. A minute. Count A, right? So to work with count A is similar to working with count. What we do is we say equal to, then we write the name of the function, which is count A. So once we select the count A, we select the column, for instance, to select all the values we want. And once we press enter, it gives us a total count of it, the numbers included and the alphabet included all together. Now let's make a hand count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So this is the difference between the count A and the count functions in working with Excel. So I would appreciate that if okay, there is still a table down that we've not worked on. Okay, let's work on this table briefly. So it asks us to sum like we've been doing. So this should be a piece of cake by now. What we need to do is just the keyword sum. Select and hold, then drag over the range you want to sum. Click in, then you have the sum of all of that. Remember, the word total is the same thing as sum. That means you're adding. So these ones that require us to get a total, the same thing we do is put in equal to, then we sum it up. We sum it up, we select our range, then click in. So this is requesting more of us. said there is an additional value of 150. Remember, our total here is 80. We're saying there is an additional value of 150 that we need to add together to get a new total. So what do? We say equal to, we select the value, then we use the plus symbol, we add the additional value to get a new total, right? So once we click enter, we get the new total, which is the final value. Somebody asked about the last equation, right?
Yes, somebody asked. You can still explain.
Okay. So this is it. So what I did was, let me erase that. Let me erase that. Sorry. What I did. Hello?
That's what I want to tell you.
Please mute your mic if you are not speaking to us, please. Okay. So, like I said the other time, we worked on the sum function. Since this place asked us to find total, you know, we have different items here: cars, trucks, bikes, skates, and we have the amounts they are sold. For instance, this is just an example, because nobody will sell a car for 20. That's 20 naira. Okay. So what we need to do is just put the equal to sign to show that I want to do the sum. Type in our function sum. Once we put in our function sum, right, then we can select the range and press enter. So that gives us a total of this: 40, 10, 10, 20. That's 80. So now I said, okay, there was an additional value here, right? Additional value, let's say for instance, 150. So it means that this total you are getting here is not supposed to be your final total. You need to get a new total. So what you do is just this value you've gotten here, you need to sum it with the additional value. This will give you your new total. So you are doing a plus equation again. So what you need to just do is just put in your equal to sign, select the cell, put your plus sign, and select the cell you want to add to it, and click enter. So you get the value for your new total. Is that clear now, please? The person that asked the question, please. Can we move on?
Sorry, I want to ask a question.
Okay.
You were saying to select, that's to select when you were on that total 80. You selected. How did you drag to select the row on the D column?
Okay, you mean how did I select all this?
No. After selecting the total, you selected 80.
I selected this and this, right? I added them together.
Yes. So did you
use
shift key, or what did you use in selecting those?
Look at the equation here. You can see the equation. Whatever equation I type, look at this place. You can see what I did, right? Can you see it?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So I just selected this. I used a plus sign to select these two. So I used enter. Then it brought.
Okay. So we are going to click on the plus sign on our laptop, right?
Yes. Shift. That's shift and equal to. We give you a plus sign on your laptop.
Equal to. Okay. All right. Yes, I've seen that.
Okay. Any other thing before we move on, please?
So we press on shift and equals to, then click on the next thing we want to add.
Yes, the next cell.
Okay.
So what I'm doing is that I'm summing cell B41 and cell D41. So once I use my equal to sign, I select my cell B41 and I select my cell D41. Then enter gives me the answer automatically.
Okay.
All right. Not to take much of our time, let's go to the next sheet to see what we have in there, right? Okay. So here we'll be working with the average function. When we talk about average, you are really just talking about mean, finding the mean. That's all it is about average. You are trying to find the mean. So we have some fruits here. We have apples, oranges, bananas, and lemons. So we have the amount that each is sold for. So the task before us right now is to calculate, the average amount. So to calculate the average amount, what do we do? There's a function for that, thank God. So we know we have to start the equation with an equal to sign, right? Then use your function average So once you click on your function average, it gives you the opportunity to highlight the cells where you have the values you want to calculate the average. So once you select and enter, it gives you the average of that. So what Excel is basically doing in like 1 second is that it's saying 50 plus 20 plus 60 plus 40. Then it's dividing it by the count 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's doing 50 plus 20 plus 60 plus 40 over 4. Imagine you have to do that in the long way. That means you have to do the sum of these 4 numbers first with this function sum. Then you have to do the count of these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Then you divide the sum by the count. But that's why there's a shorter function, average. So with average function, you can get the average of this in no time. Let's do the same for the table beside it. So we are using the function average. So once you click on the average, right, you select, hold and drag over the values that you want to calculate the average. Once you click enter, you have your average coming at your face. So another beautiful function is median. Looking at the function median. The concept of median is the concept of, a middle number. Is one of, the basic measures of central tendency. We have mean, we have mode, and we have median. It just tells you, about the distribution of, your values. So we'll talk about that when we get into more of data cleaning and analysis. So for the purpose of this class, let's get the median. So once we click on equal to median, it brings the function for us. And once we select the cells we want to find the median of, with enter, it gives you the median, right? So the concept of median is, arranging numbers. When you have a set of numbers, you want to find their median, you arrange the numbers again, rearranging them from the lowest number to the highest number. Then you find the number in the middle and you pick it out. That's your median. So this is exactly what Excel did in a split of seconds, selecting, rearranging these numbers, to be 20, 40, 50, 50, 100. So when you look at it, you have 5 numbers here, and your number in the middle has to be 50 because it's the third number. So that's why it's picking out 50 as your median. The concept of mode too is like that, but mode in this case is the numbers that occurs more frequently. For instance, I have a set of numbers 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, 1, 4, 1, 1. In this case, my mode will be 1 because I have 1 how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as opposed to any other numbers that occur only twice or 1 time at the most. So the concept of mode is you finding the number that comes at you frequently. So if we say in this case, what is our mode? Mode, and we select the list of numbers. You see that it's giving us 1 as our mode because 1 is occurring more frequently than any other number. Because 1 is occurring more frequently than any other number, right? In this set of numbers. So in this case, to look for our mode, we do the same thing. Mode, selecting the set of numbers. So once we click enter, we have our mode to be 50. Why do we have our mode to be 50? Let's see. Why do we have our mode to be 50? Because 50 occurs here 2 times. 1, 2. Unlike every other number that occurs 1 time only. We have 100, 40, 20. But then 50 occurs 1 and 2. So it has the most frequency. So automatically 50 is our mode, right? So I think that's it for this sheet. So if there are any questions, please let them come up now before we move to the next sheet. Do we have any questions at all?
Yeah, Ojo, I know this is not a scenario. What exactly do we use a mean, mode, median to do? Just give me like a practical example.
Okay. That's a good question. I will give you an instance, but you might not fully understand what I'm talking about now. But later, as we move on in this class, you understand it. Let me say, for instance, you have age range of students in primary 2. Let me use that as a brief instance to explain it. Okay, we have ages of students in primary 2. Remember, we are working with primary 2, right? So we have 7. Let's say the average age in primary 2 is supposed to be around maybe 6, 7, 8 or so. So we have 7, we have 6, we have 8, for instance. We have another student 7, we have another student 6, we have another student 8. Then we now have another student that is 31, right? A student of age 31. Let's say the student ID. The student ID here. So we are here, let's just use ID of 1, 2, and let's just, okay. So this student number 1 is 7 years old. Student number 2 is 6 years old. Student number 3 is 8 years old. Like that. And we have here student number 37 being 31, right? Now, we need to ask ourselves, is that realistic? Is it possible for a 31-year-old student to be in primary 1, for instance? So in this case, let's say you get a data that is like this, and you know that this 31 normally is a number that is out of this range. It should not be here. It's an outlier. So the concept of averages, that is mean, mode, and median, will help you to fix an accurate number here instead of this 31. Because let's imagine, for instance, I want to calculate the average age of students in primary 2, right? So let me say average. Let me put in average here so that you can see what I'm trying to do. Then I put in equal to sign. I'm trying to calculate the average. I say average age of students in primary 2. Let's see what it gives me. So it gives me 10.42, which is not supposed to be, because students in primary 2 should not have average age of 10. Or let's say, let me even make the outlier bigger so you can see the concept of what I'm talking about. Let's say 78. Let's say the outlier is 78. Now you see the average age of student in primary 2 is giving me 17 years, which should not be. A 17-year-old student should be writing JAMB or be in the university. So in this case, I know that this is an error. So what do I need to do? I will replace it with the average of these other values. Okay, so let's say I'm calculating the average of the other values, neglecting the outlier. So average equal to average. Then I select this. I find the average. So this is an average of 7. So rather than leaving this outlier here to confuse people and to influence my results in a negative light, I will replace it with the average. So once I replace it with the average now, Once I replace it with the average, then my data is cleaner. Let me take this out now. Then my data is cleaner. Then let me calculate the average of the students in primary 2 again, the average age. You will see that it is much closer to where it's supposed to be. So let's do it again, average. So average, for instance, then I calculate the average age. So 7 is a fair age for a student in primary 2 now, unlike it was giving us 17 point something the other time, because there was a value that was missing out. And the way we solved it was that we used the average to fill in the space. So that's when mean and median and mode comes in. Sometimes you're filling with mean, sometimes you're filling with median. So the person that has a question, please.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome, sir. You're welcome. Is there any other person that has a question? Okay. Let's move on then. So let's come to the concept of, minimum and maximum. It's just the basic concept. What is the lowest number in a set of numbers, and what is the highest number within a set of numbers? So it has a function in Excel. So the task here before us first is to find the minimum amount. That is, somebody is asking, imagine somebody give you this data as a price of different fruits in the market, right? The person now asks you to find, what fruit is the cheapest in the market at this time. Everything is expensive at this time, but what fruit is the cheapest? So that's the question before you. You do that using the main function, right? So once you say equal to main, once you select the main function, you highlight your range where you want to find the minimum. Normally, we should see that the minimum here should be 20, because 20 is the smallest number here. So Excel should give us 20. Okay, it does not disappoint. Please mute your mic if you are just coming in. Please mute your mic. Okay, so for the next table, we want to calculate the maximum. Calculate using the maximum function. What is the biggest amount here, right? So the same thing we do likewise. Max, select the function of this range. That's 50. So the most expensive, like calling meat or fish now in the market, is for 50 naira, $50, 50 whatever, depending on the unit we now choose to put in front of it. Do we get the concept now? Please, can we move on? That's the concept of minimum and maximum. Okay, thank you. Any other person? Can we move on? All right.
Okay, somebody is in the comment section said you should repeat this, this minimum and maximum, right?
Okay, the minimum and maximum.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't looking at that. Okay, a minute, sorry. Okay, so the concept of minimum and maximum is a very simple concept. Let me give you a set of numbers from 1 to 10, for instance, right? 2, 3, 4. So I'm going to 10. Okay. So I have these 10 numbers. Normally, we know that the smallest number is 1. And the highest number here, okay, let me use that. Let me give that a red. Then the highest number here is 10. This is our main, this should be our main, the smallest number. And this should be our max, the highest number. So now we want Excel to do that for us. So how do we do that? Using the function min and max. So minimum, we use the function minimum. So we say equal to min, right? Once you select min, you select the range you want to work on, right? Then you enter. So it's telling us that our minimum, the lowest number here is 1. We can do the same, maximum, right? We say equal to max for maximum, min for minimum. Then we select the range. It tells us that our maximum is 10. So you might be thinking of probably buying a drink. We have Coke, we have Pepsi, we have Fanta, we have the other ones like that, many of them. And they have different prices. And they gave you a list of prices. You want to pick out a minimum. So you just use a function minimum to check the cheapest one. You use a function maximum to check the most expensive one. So that's just the concept of it. I hope it's clear now. So let's move on to some basic date functions. Okay. I think I worked. Okay. Okay. Let me enlarge this. Okay. The concept of date function in Excel, as we move on in the class, we are going to be using dates more and more. It will be important to understand, date formats to be able to extract some important infos from it. But as that, please mute your mic. Please mute your mic. If you are not talking to me, please mute your mic. Okay. But for the basic functions with the date, here are some basic examples of things we can do with the date function. For instance, today's date. You want to get today's date from the Excel worksheet. You simply need to put in your equal to, like I said, any equation, any function or any equation you're writing. You have to start with today, with equal to function. So for today, once you put in the function today and you enter that, it gives you today's date. I think today is 12, right? Okay, yes, today is 12. Today is 12 May 2024. So for instance, my own birthday is August 8th. So imagine I want to calculate the number of days that are dear to my birthday, which is in August. That's about 3 months away because this is the 5th month. So what do? I just need to come in here. I know today's date. Today's date is 12th of May. I just need to come here, come and, put in my birth date. My own is 08/08/2024. So my birthday this year is August 8th, 2024. So now I've put that in. So I want to calculate the number of days to my birthday. It is simple. What I just need to do is put in my equal to sign. I'll select this, which is the later date, and this, which is the later date, subtract, then this, which is the earlier date. Then once I click equal to, I have my answer. So till my birthday in August 8th, we have about 88 days. So this is just using the date format, and we are using the same subtraction symbol. You can see what I put in, the same subtraction symbol that we did in the first sheet. So if somebody's birthday was, for instance, September, that's 9. So September, like maybe 24, for instance, 2024, 9/24/2024. So the person wants to calculate how many days is left before the person's birthday. What they have to do is just, select the later date minus the older date, which is today, because September 24 is in the future. So you have 135 days to September 24. But till my own birthday, August 8th, you have only 88 days. Okay. So let's move on to answer the other question.
Can you come again?
Okay. Let me do that again. Let me erase that. I said to get today's date in Excel. Sometimes you are working with a set of data and you want to work with them relative to the current date. So to get today's date, what you do is equal to the function today. Today, right? So once you click on today, it gives you today's date. If the date on your system is actually correct, it gives you today's date. So for instance, my own birthday, like I said, is in August, 8th of August, 2024. It's another birthday for me. So for instance, I want to calculate days until my birthday. Days until my birthday. What I just need to do is put in my birthday, which is 8th of August, 2024. Once I put that in, then I can subtract today's date from the date of my birthday, because the date of my birthday is still a later date than today. Today is an earlier date, right? So what I'll do is I'll just say equal to, like we always do. I'll select my later date. I'll subtract today's date from it. So I will know how many days is left till my birthday. So if you do a countdown to my birthday, so somebody wants to do a countdown for me from today, you have to start from 88, 87, 86 till that day, right? Okay. So we've worked with subtraction to get how many days is between two dates, right? Now let's work with addition. For instance, today is 12th. Your bill is due, maybe your house rent is due in 12 days on the 30th. You want to calculate that. You have today's days already. And perhaps the landlord comes and says, I'm giving you just 18 days to your next house rent payment. Let's say 18 now. So you have 18 here. So you want to calculate what date exactly is 18 days from now. When is it going to fall? Right? Remember, you have today's date here. Now you have the number of days that is given to you as a grace period. So you want to know when the date is going to lapse. What do? Just select. select today's date. Then you add the number of days, 18 days. So it means that you add 18 days to today, that is 12, you have 30th of May, 2024. So 30th of May, you should be preparing to pay your next house rent. That's when the time elapses, right? Now, the function to get time out of Excel, time, it's a simple function. Whenever you want to get the current time, what you do is now, put in now. When you put in now and click enter, you have the current time. Now, my own time, the time on my PC is not correct. So on my PC says 12 something. I haven't set the time, so that's why you see that. But if you do that on your PC, you have the current time on your PC time. To give you the current time on your PC. So that's it for date functions. There are also shortcuts to doing that, right? There are shortcuts to doing that. Like if you want to get the current date, say it's Control plus semicolon. I just did that with a command, Control plus semicolon. The current time, you are using Control, you are using Shift, and you are using colon. So that's that for that. So if there are any questions, please let them come up now. Is there anything that's confusing us about it? Any questions at all? Hello? Hope it's not the network.
Hello. Sorry for the grace period. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
So for the
Okay.
grace period,
Okay.
you said we should enter equals to. I didn't get that. I was just trying
Okay.
to jot
No,
that
no,
down.
no. The concept I was just don't mind the English grace period. The concept I was just trying to pass across is that today is 12th of May. So if you want to calculate 12 days from now or 18 days from now, when will it fall? So today is 12th of May. You want to calculate when will 18 days from now, when will it fall? What day? What's the date? So you just take this, like I did. See, I just took this C4 and I added the extra 18 days to it. So it tells me when that is going to fall. When is it going to fall? 18 plus 12. Today is 12. I'm adding 18 days. So it's going to fall on 30th of May. Is that clear now?
Yes, I get that.
Okay. Okay. Sorry, any other questions?
Yeah, hello.
Okay.
Please, how did you impute your date of birth?
My date of birth, I imputed it manually. Sorry, manually.
Okay.
Because only me know my date of birth, right?
Okay.
Yeah. So I imputed that manually. I won't ask Excel, find date of birth. Okay. So it's all clear now, right? Okay.